Hi guys, this is Shy Hard Nerd J5 and welcome to my next character video. So when I was designing De-Mon, and how you spell it, you put a dash in the middle between the E and the M, so it's De-Mon. Even though it says Demon, his actual name is De-Mon. When I was designing him, originally I didn't know exactly what I wanted him to be. I had the name, but I didn't have his actual form. So originally I was going to give him a basic demon design, so with the horns, the wings, the tail. But I thought, that's a little on the nose. It could have been just a on the nose character, but I wanted more out of him. So what I did was I did a bunch of different designs, sketchings. I took some inspirations from other sources of sort of demonic themes. So I thought of and did research on demonic toys, possessed puppets, demons, that sort of stuff. And through trial and error, I came up with different designs. Some of them worked, some of them that lasted for a good while, but eventually they weren't hitting home. None of them were strong enough, and I really struggled for quite a while trying to get that solid final design down. For a good long while, originally, he was going to be like a jack-in-the-box, sort of like, almost like two entities, but as one. So originally, it was going to be like a walking jack-in-the-box, and on the inside was him in general. Sort of like, well, it's hard to explain. Sort of like two entities in one, kind of like a Jekyll and Hyde sort of thing. And I went with that idea for quite a while, but as time went on, I began to think of like trying to balance out the dynamics of each of the characters, and I thought that the demonic toy part was a good idea, but then I sort of drifted what I wanted more from the actual character, sort of more depth. And the demonic toy part eventually wasn't going to work with what I was thinking for De-Mon. So I begrudgingly decided to scrap it and start from the beginning, go back to the drawing board. So I had a rethink of what I was looking for. And I like the idea of one body but sort of separate entities as one body. So what I did was that I designed the idea that the top half would be like one body with the arms, the head, and then the bottom half, being like the lower torso and the legs, would be the other half, and that they'd be separate. So I tried to think how I would play that off, because originally I was thinking of like demonic clown, sort of thespian, actor, performer. Originally, I remember the character from the Mega Man Battle Network series, and his name was Wacko Man. And what it was like the bottom half was like a big bouncy ball, and then the top half was his actual body. So I thought, that's not a bad idea. So I did some sketchings, and for a while, I liked the idea that the bottom half was a separate entity than the top, and the bottom half was like this big bouncy ball with little legs and a big mouth. And I gave him a single big eye and lots of polka dots around. Originally, that was the idea I was going to stick with, because I could just imagine him struggling to walk, so he bounced everywhere. But then, once again, same thing happened. As the character developed, the design had to be changed again. So usually when it comes to developing my characters, it starts with the design first, and then the background comes after. But then with some people, it's usually the other way around, but it goes either way. So I had to go back to the drawing board again. However, I didn't go too far from that idea. So what I did instead is that I thought to lean towards more of the thespian kind of guy. So for like Shakespeare, grand performers, actors. So I decided to give him like a Shakespearean sort of design. So I gave him the sort of Shakespearean clothing, padding. I gave him the rubber hose, long arms, white glove, hands, long legs, kind of like with like Tim Burton characters. Sort of like a dark Shakespearean character. And for the head, I kept with the skull head, but with the bat wings, so he could move his head as a separate entity. So when it comes down to it, he actually has 5 pieces. So there's his head, his 2 hands, his feet, and then his main body. So the hands count as 1 as well as the feet. And so it's like 5 separate entities as one whole body, so that they can separate, split, but in the course, they all operate as one body. When it comes to his personality, I went with the idea that he would be very much kind of like Sideshow Bob from The Simpsons. Very dramatic, very expressive with his vocals. Just a character that can stand out, and just generally kind of funny just to listen to him talk. Because at one point he'd be very thespian, very vocal, and then on the other hand he can just be like... So yeah, in the end I took a lot of inspiration from Sideshow Bob when I was coming up with his personality. As for his background, he's pretty much just a traveling actor. He travels throughout the different parts of Pechua Island as a single troupe, performing in different areas like in pubs, buildings, events. He's the kind of guy that you could see being invited to perhaps maybe a royal party to do a bit of performing for royalty. Although he's not, I mean, he's good, but it's not like he's the best. In his in his head, he thinks he's the best, but he's only about as good of a standard. But he foolishly thinks that he is above all others in his thespian and artistic pursuits of the theater. As for his powers, he doesn't have much on the actual power. What he can do instead, that he of course can separate his body parts. So he can separate his hands, his feet, and his head. And then of course he's got his body, so they separate into multiple pieces. But at the same time, he can stretch out his arms, kind of like elasticity, kind of like Mr. Fantastic, or just any kind of stretchy characters, like you think of like Luffy, Mr. Fantastic, Rubber Band Man. Pretty much he can stretch, but at the same time he can conjure up little like shadow minions, but they're like as standard as like the little minions that you can just one shot and then they're just gone. But they work as a distraction or as a form of way of extra hands. So, you know, because he always needs extra hands, because he thinks he's too important to do these little tasks, because he is too important. And in the end, I'm making him out to be kind of a guy who thinks too highly of himself kind of character. But not to say that he's not loyal, that he doesn't know what it means to have friends. He's just very confident in himself, but at the same time, he just kisses his own backside. That's his kind of character. But he's a loyal friend. He stands with his friends, fights with them, and he is one of the crucial members of the main characters. As for his voice, I wanted him to have a very thespian voice, a voice with a lot of range, an amazing voice to listen to, and also a voice that could just take a range from being both serious and quirky. So, of course, because I took a lot of inspiration from the Sideshow Bob, I would love that he was voiced by the guy who voiced Sideshow Bob, because he's done a lot of characters, a lot of voiceovers, and you just know that it's him when you hear his voice, because he's very thespian, a lot of range, and he doesn't even need to put on like a voice. He just sounds as he does in all his roles, but he just does a good job doing it, that it comes off with range. Alright, that's the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching and listening. This one was a little longer than I expected, but there was a lot to talk about De-Mon. So if you want to see more, then you know what you need to do. Like, subscribe, drop a comment down below, and then click on the little bell icon down the middle if you want to be notified for any future videos. And thank you so much for leaving your comments, subscribing, because it's really helping to boost up the channel and step by step to make it more wide open to everybody and for more people to know of what I do and create. And if you want to see more, then go to my Instagram account. You can see more of my works and postings, and I look forward to seeing you all guys next time. Alright, see you later.
Master Jim, if I may. Destiny is a gift. Some go their entire lives, living existences of quiet desperation, never learning the truth that what feels as though a burden pushing down upon our shoulders is actually a sense of purpose that lifts us to greater heights. Never forget that fear is but the precursor to valor, that to strive and triumph in the face of fear is what it means to be a hero. Don't think, Master Jim. Become